Alrighty, welcome back everybody. Today is going to be just a super chill practice. We're going to be doing this entirely seated and on our backs. And you can absolutely do this sitting on the edge of your bed, with your legs over the edge and your feet on the floor. And if your floor is a little far away, and your feet aren't quite making contact, you can take like a footstool or a stack of books or some pillows, just so that your feet have something to make contact with, just to feel a little more grounded. But if you are going to join me on the floor, like I am here today, I highly recommend sitting on some kind of a cushion or a block, just to bring your hips up off the ground a little bit. And that way we can sit up nice and tall and relaxed without having to really work at it too hard. So when you're ready, let's get started. All right, so we're just going to start off by closing our eyes and taking a couple of nice, deep grounding breaths. Letting the shoulders drop if they're snugging up to your ears. Letting any tension in your face melt away. Just letting your body be fully supported by the surface that you're sitting on. We're just going to start to let our right ear very slowly begin tipping towards the right shoulder. We're just moving the head and neck at this point. We're just paying attention to if that left shoulder wants to come along for the ride and start to rise up towards the ceiling. We can bring the head back up really slowly, really exaggerating that slowness, and then begin to lower that left ear to that left shoulder just as slowly. No force, and just paying attention to that right shoulder, and if it tries to be pulled along. And breathe into this. Bringing the head back up through center. We're going to drop our chin towards our chest and then just begin rolling the head back and forth, side to side, ear to one shoulder, back through the front, other ear to the other shoulder. Just comfortable neck rolls. We're not going to go rolling the back of our neck. We're just going to keep sending the chin back down towards the chest to the other side. Paying attention to any crunchies, or if there's a particular part of the movement where you feel a stronger stretch, you can pause there for a moment and breathe into it for a bit. All right, now the next time that you find yourself at right ear to right shoulder, we're just going to settle back into that side flexion. We're going to take our right hand and just very lightly place it on the left side of the head. You're not pulling down or pushing down on your head with your hand. It's just the weight of the hand, and then very, very gently pressing that left side of your hand into, the left side of your head into the right hand, while the right hand provides just a little bit of resistance so that the head isn't actually moving. We're just going to hold that for a couple seconds. It's a very light contraction. We're just targeting the very small muscles in the neck. And then as you exhale, you can slowly let that go. Let the weight of your hand, maybe let that ear come a little closer to the shoulder. And then one more time, we're going to gently press the left side of the head into that right hand, just the tiniest bit of resistance. No pain, no strain. Breathe. And then very slowly on an exhale, let that contraction go. The right hand can come back down to your knee. Just hang out in this side flexion for a moment longer. Notice how it's feeling. Then we're going to inhale as we bring our head back up to neutral. So now we're going to go ahead and do that on the other side. We're going to let the left ear come to the left shoulder, comfortably finding its end range. And then the weight of the left hand is going to just very lightly rest on the right hand side of the head, the right temple. Very gentle contraction, pushing that right side of your head into that left hand. Remembering to breathe. Exhaling to slowly let go of that effort. One more time, gentle press into the left hand. And let that go. Left hand can come back to left knee. We're just going to hang out in this left ear to shoulder position for another moment. And then on an inhale, we're going to come back up to neutral. Now the right hand can come to the floor or the bed beside you, and we're just going to lean our body over that side. Our left hip might start to leave the ground a little bit, bringing the left arm up through the air, arching overhead. Arm might come alongside your head, and you can hold yourself up with this right arm. And then we're just going to turn our spine a little bit so we start pointing our chest a bit towards the ceiling, a bit down towards the ground. Up towards the ceiling. And down towards the ground. Really slow. Come back to the chest facing forward. We're going to let that left arm come down. We're going to push off with the right hand. Now the left is going to come down on the left-hand side. The right hip might start to lift a little bit. We're going to bring that right arm up. It might even start to reach overhead a little bit. And again, we're going to spin the chest just a bit towards the ceiling, just within a range that feels comfortable. and then down towards the floor. Back up towards the ceiling. Nice and slow, back down towards the floor. And then facing the wall in front again, the right hand is going to open out, coming back down to the side. We're going to return to sitting up tall. And we're just going to do a couple little shoulder rolls. So up, back, down, and forward. Up, back, down, and letting them rest. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our legs a little bit involved. Being on the floor, you can just lay back. If you are on the bed, you might want to scoot back so that you are more so just laying on the bed. But what we're going to do, and I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see me, I'm going to remove the surface underneath my bum, my cushion. I'm going to take my right leg, I'm going to lift it, I'm going to cross it over my left knee, thigh, okay? And I'm just going to lay back. So I've got my hips kind of rotated inwards, tipping inwards towards each other, crossing at the knee. And I am going to let my legs drop over to the right. So my right thigh is on top, and I'm now dropping my thighs over to the right. I'm leaving my left foot on the floor. And I'm just coming into a twist here. You don't have to go all the way down. If you want to shove some blanket or pillows or cushions or blocks so that you can control how low your legs go, do what you need to do to make this feel really comfortable and accessible. And we're just going to kind of hang out here for a couple breaths. We're going to bring those legs back up through center, and we're going to try twisting the other way with our legs still in this same position. So twisting the legs over towards the left foot is still on the floor. You might be able to go a little further this way. This way might even be a little more comfortable. We're going to hang out here for a couple of breaths. Okay, we can bring those legs back up through center. For just a moment, while our legs are still crossed like this, let's lift that left foot off the floor, bring our legs in towards the chest, and you might just find a space where you can hold on to the legs with your hands, just to support them here. And then we're going to let that left foot come back down to the floor, and the right foot is going to join it. Take a moment here in this neutral position just to reset. And then when you're ready, you can lift your left foot off the floor, crossing that left leg over the right thigh, keeping that right foot grounded. And once again, if you want to have some cushions or blankets ready to catch you on the left-hand side, we're going to let the legs drop towards the left to start. We won't be here long because this is maybe a less accessible version of a twist with our legs in this orientation. Depends on your body. All right, we'll bring the legs back up through center. And then we will let them fall over gently to the right. Again, you might move a little bit further to this side. And we're going to stay here just a little bit longer. Just scanning through the other parts of your body for any tension that you might be holding that you don't really need to. See if you can let that go. All right, we'll bring the legs back through center again. And before you unhook your left leg, we're just going to bring both in towards the chest again. Just find a spot on your legs that you can hold on with your hands just to make staying here a little more relaxed. All right, we'll let that right foot come down to the floor. Left foot can follow. And we'll just rest here for a moment. All right, we're going to get back up to seated. So however you need to do that, if you want to roll onto your side and push yourself up, we are going to sit, if you're on a bed, sitting at the edge of the bed again with one leg hanging off. We are going to start off with the right knee bent. If you're on the floor, your left leg is going to be bent behind you. If you're sitting on a bed, this leg can just be kind of hanging off the edge of the bed, foot towards the ground. But if you're on the floor, the ground's in the way. We're going to be facing this leg in front of us. And if you want to gather up blankets and pillows or cushions and bolsters, you can have those in front of you so that you can begin to fold forward over that front leg. Now I'm just going to prop myself up on my forearms so that my mic doesn't get squished. But if you can, and you have the space in your body and it's comfortable, or you have objects you can put in front of you, you can just fully relax into the surface underneath you and let your forehead make contact with whatever and just completely rest here. So this front hip that we are folded over is in external rotation. But for those of us on the floor, the back leg that's behind us like this is actually in internal rotation, which is not really, we do a lot of hip opening in yoga, but not necessarily a lot of internal hip rotation, and it is an important movement. So I really like this leg positioning as just a gentle way to hang out comfortably and let one leg rest in internal rotation. All right, so you can start to use your hands to walk yourself back up. Again, for those of you on the bed, the left leg's just going to stay where it is, over the edge of the bed, foot towards the floor. For us on the floor with our back leg behind us in internal rotation, we're going to bring it forward. We're going to come into that classic hamstring stretch. So this leg is out front. If you're sitting on a bed, it's up on the bed. And for those of us on the floor, we've got just the left foot in at the inner thigh. And we're just going to gently fold over this leg. It doesn't need to be impressive. You don't need to be touching your toes, reaching for your feet even. Just land where you land and notice that sensation down the back line of the leg. Maybe it's coming up the back line of your back. Maybe it comes all the way up into your upper spine and your neck, especially if you're letting your head hang, which you can do if you don't have a microphone that you will muffle your voice with if you get too close to it. We're not holding any particular muscular tension here. We aren't really doing an active stretch. We're just kind of melting, being gooey, just landing where we land. All right, you can use your hands to help you walk yourself back up. We're going to switch sides. So for those of us on the floor, we're going to turn a little bit. We're going to get the left leg in external rotation, the right leg behind us in internal rotation. Again, if you're on a bed, left leg's on the bed with you in external rotation, right leg is just kind of hanging over the side of the bed. But we're going to face ourselves over this front leg and we're going to start to walk ourselves forward. Again, you can use all sorts of things underneath you to support yourself up here if that's more comfortable. If you have more openness in your body, in your hips, in your back, you can come down lower. Please feel free to rest your forehead on something. I will keep my head up so that I don't have a microphone in my mouth. And we're just going to hang out here for a few breaths, making sure that this right leg, for those of us on the floor, get an opportunity to be in internal rotation. All right, you can use your hands to help yourself up. We're going to reposition ourselves for our hamstring stretch. So bed sitters, your right leg's just going to stay where it is. Floor sitters, it's going to swing around so that you can bring the sole of your right foot to the inner left thigh. Left leg is supported on the bed. Your body is facing the leg on the bed. And we are just going to begin to fold forward into a comfortable forward fold. Again, we're not necessarily trying to touch our toes or even touch our head to our leg. We're just hanging out, feeling that juicy stretch, nothing too intense. And maybe noticing if there's any differences from one side to the other. All right, we can use our hands to walk ourselves back up. All right, and we are going to come back. We're going to finish this little practice with one more posture. We're going to be on our backs again. So if you're on the bed, just scoot a bit more onto the bed again so that you can lay there comfortably. To get some more hip internal rotation in, especially for the people on a bed who maybe didn't get it in deer pose just now, when we lay back, we're going to get comfy. We're going to let our feet come kind of wide on the mat. So if you were on a yoga mat, the edges of the mat are sort of down the center line of your feet roughly. And from there, you're going to let your knees just collapse in towards each other so that they're kind of propping each other up. All right? And from here, we're just going to breathe, and we're going to make a point of scanning through the body and looking for any areas where you might be gripping or just holding on to tension that is not necessary, and just see if you can let it relax even just a bit more than it currently is. It may not completely relax, and that's totally fine, but even just practicing relaxing it a little bit is great. Tuning into your breath and where the bulk of the movement for your inhales and your exhales is happening. Is it happening in your upper chest? Is it happening in your central rib cage? Or is it happening in your belly? Is your belly rising and falling a lot? And just see if you can bring things back to the rib cage. All right, I welcome you to stay here as long as you want to. Shavasana is a great grounding practice. It's a lovely thing to do before bedtime or when you're feeling a little stressed out. So you're welcome to stay here as long as you want to. Get up when it feels ready for you. But otherwise, I will see you next week.